Newsmax recently invited the MyPillow guy, Mike Lindell, to come on the show. And unfortunately, when you invite people like Lindell on and you're worried about lawsuits, you have a pretty toxic cocktail. Now, keep in mind that Dominion, which is the manufacturer or the company behind the voting machines that have been targeted by right-wingers with all sorts of smears and falsehoods, is suing people like Lindell, along with right-wing gossip organizations. I don't want to call them news organizations because they're not, but they're being sued by Dominion because of the lies they've been telling about how the machines are allegedly, controlled by Venezuelans, and that's what led to widespread voter fraud, just absolute lunacy. But the lawsuit is apparently working when it comes to Newsmax, because get a load of how they reacted when Lindell started to go off on the voting machines.
What happened with your Twitter account and the company page?
Well, first mine was taken down because we have all the election fraud with these Dominion machines. We have 100% proof. And then when they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations. We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen. And let me read you something there. While there were some clear evidence of some cases of vote fraud and election irregularities, the election results in every state were certified, and Newsmax accepts the results as legal and final. The courts have also supported that view. So we wanted to talk to you about canceling culture, if you will. We don't want to relitigate the allegations that you're making, Mike, because we understand where you are. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this should be temporary because it appears to be permanent? Could you make an argument that it is temporary?
What?
I mean, my heart goes out to Dr. Oz, who just wants to talk about canceling culture, but is unable to do so because Mike Lindell is saying things that could get them in more trouble with this lawsuit,
That's not actually Dr. Oz.
No, it's not Dr. Oz, but
I don't know what's happening anymore. Media is a weird place. I think Mark Halpern's on one of those. I don't know. Does anyone else get the feeling that like Mike Lindell originally developed his own pillow?
He looks like Dr. Oz. I think that's the story here, and we're burying it. And I think
that's the story. Why aren't more people talking about this? Maybe that's what he was trying to bring up, and they were talking over him.
Maybe. Okay, I'm sorry. You were making a serious point, so go ahead.
I guarantee you I was not. But anyway, that's not good TV at all, man. You can't have that. Like, did the producer not talk to him, or is it's that he's just crazy?
But you producer not talk to him for the producers for Newsmax?
I don't even know what that looks like. But anyway, yeah, you can't really feel too bad for them for the fact that he went crazy, because they didn't book him like for his multiple books on the topic of election law or whatever. They booked him because he's crazy, and the audience likes the crazy people they bring on. They were just hoping he would be crazy about cancel culture. That's it. They wanted to spin him up and then send him at cancel culture to rant like a crazy person.
Well, look, even Dr. Oz's doppelganger has some standards, and he just had enough and finally took matters into his own hands. Let's see how that went down as the conversation continued.
Could you make an argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than permanent?
No, I want it to be a permanent, because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike, can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please? I don't want to have to keep going over this.
Actually,
we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those allegations that you're.
Mike, hold on a second. Everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on 1 second. Let's talk a little bit about just what is happening overall in terms of censorship of.
Trying to cancel out my company and myself in this country. It's cancel culture.
Oh my gosh. I also love like the panicky moment where the control room is like, oh, let's go to wide. And then they didn't go to the wide of the female host and they went to the double shot. You see the empty, it was so good. It was so good.
I love like
that's programming.
Like I've never been in such a threatening environment where I have to try to like dodge a bullet by jumping, but he tried to dodge a lawsuit bullet. He was like, it's coming. Take her, not me. Like you'll note, he didn't like push her out of frame. He basically hid behind her. No, she's still on camera. You sue her. I wasn't involved in this. Brave.
So
come on, Dr. Oz.
We should know, but I mean, they should know better. They should know, like here's the thing. They brought Lindell on to talk about how he got suspended from Twitter, right? That's what the topic was supposed to be about. But when you're bringing on a guy who rose to fame, I guess, for lack of a better word, through infamy, through his lies about widespread voter fraud, you might want to think about the risk you're taking by inviting him back on. But this is the issue, right? Because Newsmax and OAN and these far right places have built a business model amplifying people like Lindell. Right? They've gone way further than Fox News. And right now, Fox News is having an identity crisis. They're like, oh, what are we gonna do? We used to be the fringe lunatics and now we're not. What are we gonna do? What's our identity? And so Newsmax has no choice. Like their business model depends on Lindell and Lindell types. And so after all that went down, John, after all that went down, they had to play nice. And here's what that looked like.
Allows Chinese state media to have an account. They have canceled the MyPillow account of our good friend Mike Lindell. That happened just yesterday, in fact. And Mike, thanks for coming on the show. Good to have you again. Obviously, you were on the network earlier in the day. We made some waves there. We'll leave it at that. But you and Newsmax have always had a very good relationship.
That's so
we love you, Lindell. We had to end that segment because you were going to get us into a lot of trouble. We were going to get sued. But we love you. We love you. You're going to come back on, right? You're going to do the segment right now, right? Because we need you. We need you. It's so sad.
It's so sad. And I think I maybe this is obvious. I don't know. But I want to express one thing about what you just saw there, which is their whole thing is when those tech companies like Twitter enforce their very clear public terms of service that these people are knowingly violating multiple times, they don't get to do that. They're saying there are things that people can say that are so untrue that it's actually dangerous and they're wrong. And then he starts saying a bunch of stuff and they're like, no, stop. No, don't talk about that. Talk about how bad censorship is. No, stop talking about that. Talk about censorship instead. Don't talk about that thing. I don't want you to express that thought. Instead, talk about censorship and how censorship is bad. Because they're worried about the crazy, dishonest things he's gonna say. And they will learn nothing from that experience. You get to have standards. That's how it actually works. Their media company gets to have standards. Social media sites get to have standards. That is how speech actually works, absent government interference. If it's the government trying to censor people, we can perhaps have a different conversation because that actually involves the Bill of Rights and all of that. But they get to control to some extent what the MyPillow guy says, and so does Twitter. That's equality.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.